Welcome to another episode of the Samson and Dollar Talk Show. We have a special guest with us today. Benny, I'm so sorry for my Nigerian people. I'm about to say your last name so wrong. Nwokeabia, is that how you say it?
Honestly, A for effort.
A for
it was
effort?
there. Nah, but my last name is Nwokeabia.
Nwokeabia.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it sounds much better.
Yeah, easier said than read.
Yeah. But comedian / writer, based out of Washington D.C. Welcome, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me, dog. I'm excited to be here.
How you been today?
Chilling, man. It was a good day. Today was the first day of snow.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So I'm tight. You know what I mean? Because who likes snow? I think if you like snow, you should.
I think the thing is like
be in a
the summer was so
ward.
hot. It was like, man, I just wanted to get like.
Oh,
some
you're
new
ready
weather.
for it?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh no, I can't.
My birthday's in 4 days, so I'm a December baby.
Oh, happy early birthday! That's what's up. One of my brothers was born in December.
Oh, nice. So wanted to get into some discussions today. Obviously, you being a comedian, I want to know where your story starts. Obviously, where does Benny in Nwokeabia?
Nwokeabia.
Yeah. Where does your story start?
Where does it start?
Right.
Like from the very beginning or the comedy story?
From the beginning.
I was born in D.C.
Okay.
Believe it or not. All me and my brothers were born in D.C. Same hospital, Providence Hospital, same doctor. Believe it or not. But I moved when I was like 2 months old. I moved to Ethiopia.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we lived in Addis till I was 6. And then when I was 6, we moved to Switzerland. Lived there until I was about 15, 16.
Okay.
And then I moved to Florida for a basketball academy.
Okay.
And then after that, I moved to New York.
Oh, wow.
Then I did like a brief stint in Mexico.
Okay.
But that wasn't.
I saw that in
6
one of your
months.
comedy skits.
Yeah. That was a true story during the pandemic. And then I moved back to this area. So like a full circle.
Nice. So you would say like most of your like childhood was in Switzerland?
Yeah, like my formative years were out there. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, as I know, you're half Ethiopian, half Nigerian, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So like
East and West.
were you able to like connect with like both sides of your culture, growing up, or like?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like my dad's Nigerian, my mom's Ethiopian. So it's like in the household at any moment, there's like 3 cultures going on. There's like 4 actually, because like I wanted to be American so bad. You can tell by my accent. I practiced every day. So like, yeah, like, my mom would be cooking Ethiopian food and Nigerian food and like just all kinds. And it was just a mix. I was just used to being mixed. I went to international school. So when I left the house, it was like I saw everyone. I had a friend from every country. So it was like, yeah, it was pretty wild as a kid.
Did you ever have like, I feel like a disconnect from like one culture to another? Like, did you ever feel like, you're more Ethiopian or you're more Nigerian? Or was like, you were able to get that perfect balance, like that mix?
I felt like I wasn't enough of either.
Really?
Anytime I went to the Nigerian household, I was, wasn't Nigerian. But every time I went to the Ethiopian place, I wasn't Ethiopian. You know what I mean? Every time I went to the States, they were like, you came from Europe. Every time I came from Africa, they're like, you came from America.
It's like, I have a friend like he has the same situation. So he feels like he's like, I think half Tunisian and American. Like half the time when he goes to Tunisia, he feels like he's American because I always be like,
straight
your
up.
Arabic's messed up. And then when you come to America, you're not American, right?
Yeah. That's a real dynamic.
Yeah. Hundo. Getting into just talking about like the culture end of your things. So you saying that you were half Nigerian, half Ethiopian. Did you ever live in Nigeria or only lived in Ethiopia?
No, I only lived in Ethiopia. We never like full blown lived in Nigeria, but we would visit constantly.
Okay.
We'd go back.
Okay.
I still have a lot of family out there.
Okay, tough. So, when did comedy start? Like, when in life did you be like, you wanted to do comedy? When was that?
Yeah, comedy started. So this is when I was living in New York, and I was working this dead end. It wasn't a dead end job. I mean, it was a good job. I worked for like a good company, and that I was working in Times Square. Like,
oh wow,
had
you're
the
living
apartment.
the dream.
Yeah, the dream. Yeah, I mean, you could call it the dream, but you know what I mean. It got pretty redundant really quickly. After a while, you're just like, dude, what am I doing with my life? Right. And so I came home one day from work, and I was like, I walked into this bar that was like close to my house. I never go to. I was like, I'm gonna go. I remember it was a Monday night, and they were doing comedy. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I was always a fan of comedy, like my whole life. My brother used to download like Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, all their specials on this iPod Touch. I would watch them over and over and over again. And one day I watched this comedy show, and I stayed till the end. And once it was done, I was like, yo, I'm funnier than these niggas. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally what I thought to myself. Like, I'm funnier than these dudes. And then, like, the next week I went And I was like, I'm gonna try it because it's open mic. You know, anybody could try.
Oh
you
yeah, like
sign up.
Mm-hmm.
And I never stopped going. And
really, after that was it.
Yeah, it was done. I just kept attacking. I wrote my first 5 minutes. And I just kept going.
What was like? So you feel like that moment, like when you were in that comedy club and you were just like, man, I'm better than these.
It wasn't even a club. It was just a bar. It's called Harlem Nights. But yeah.
Yeah. So like once you saw that, you're like, I'm better than these guys. Like there's no way I could outperform these guys on.
Which I wasn't, by the way. It was just delusion. I just had a real level of delusion about me where I was like, dude, I could do what they're doing. It doesn't. First of all, by the way, if you ever see a comedian and you know, you go up to them after and like, oh my God, what you did was amazing. I really want to try. We get offended.
Really?
Because we're like, dog, you can't do what we're doing.
I feel like there's a like I've seen that a lot. Like you know Andrew Schultz, right?
Yeah, I love Schultz.
So I think Dave Chappelle was asked about him on the Joe Rogan show.
Yeah.
And like Dave Chappelle just like, it wasn't like he was hating on him, but like the vibe was like I think Joe Rogan is asking like, oh, how do you like the new style of comedy? I think something that you kind of present, like where you like do crowd work, right?
Yeah.
You're talking to the crowd and then you get a reaction out of them. You're like having a conversation, but you're also dissing them at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle was kind of like saying it wasn't comedy.
Yeah. So, two parts. The first part, when I was saying that we get offended, it's because comedy is much harder than it looks. Like the good comedy is by a good comedian makes it look easy.
Okay.
That's what good comedy is. If I make it look like it's super easy on stage, then I've done my job.
And you felt like did you always feel like when you were on stage you always had that ease, or was it like you had to grow into that?
No, I was always pretty comfortable on stage. Like I had good stage presence. Like I knew how to like carry myself out there. Right. It was just more like putting jokes together. That's the difficult part, writing and like figuring out what is the best thing to say and how to say it, economy of words. Now to the Andrew Schultz and Dave Chappelle thing.
Right.
He wasn't specifically talking about Andrew Schultz's comedy, actually. What he was talking about was this new idea that Andrew Schultz came up with during the pandemic, or maybe before, where he was making these short-form videos, really punchline-y videos. And it wasn't stand-up comedy. It was just like internet video. And he would do the thing where like it would say like, turn the phone. I don't know if you remember that. Schultz created that.
Okay.
But basically, like, you know, everyone looks at the phone like this, but on the screen, it's like a little preview, and he goes, turn the phone and check this out. And then you turn the phone, and it goes into his video. And it's just him sitting there like we are now, and he's just saying funny things.
Okay.
Right? No crowd, no nothing.
Right.
That's what Joe Rogan was describing, and that's what Dave Chappelle was saying is a new form of something. It's not what I do.
Right.
Because what Dave Chappelle does strictly is stand-up. Whether Dave Chappelle thinks Andrew Schultz is a good stand-up or not, I'm sure he thinks he's a good stand-up, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think, do you feel like you try to mimic yourself more as like the Andrew Schultz kind of culture where it's like the new generation of comedy? Or it's like, because I feel like the only people that I personally watch in the comedy world that like still have that, you know, like Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, like they'll just talk about their life and they'll basically diss whoever's in their life and their story. Like, you know, it says great storytelling with a lot of jokes, right? Yeah. Is it like, do you feel like you want to get more into that space, or you like the Andrew Schultz, you know, form and you want to continue going on that end?
Yeah, I like both, you know? I think that both are very important. Like writing jokes is really good. And then the reason I like crowd work is because comedy got redundant for me for a little while.
Really? What happened?
Yeah, I was saying the same stuff. I was working on the same jokes. And so when I'm up there, like I love talking to people. And I guess I've been blessed with the idea, with the blessing of like quick wit, in the sense that like when I'm up there, like I just say funny, you know what I mean?
You were the kid that was like able to, if somebody says something to you, you could say something back real quick.
Yeah, exactly. And so like on stage, I find that to be some of the most fun stuff where like it's on the spot. You'd never expect it. So no two sets of mine are ever the same.
Okay.
There's a lot of stand-ups out there that can, and this is fine, this is a form of stand-up, but they do the exact same cadence, exact same mannerisms, exact same everything every time. That got really boring for me. I was like, I gotta throw something in here. So when I saw Schultz doing his thing, I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. I could do this. And then I just started doing it, and it started like being fun and working, and now it's just like a part of my comedy.
100%. Did you, by the way, did you start comedy in New York, or did you?
Yeah, I started in New York. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like you started in the harder part of, you know.
The
hardest you came to DC and you kind of dominated.
Yeah, well, I mean, New York is difficult. New York is crazy. There's a lot going on. It's oversaturated. So many comedians. Right. Very hard to get stage time unless you're famous. Yeah. And for the first few years of my comedy, like I didn't post nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Oh, you were just like doing shows.
I just grinded because I was like, yo, I want to get at least decent before I'm like out there, you know? I need to get my chops. So that's what I did. and I just grinded in silence. And then when I got to DC was when I was like, all right, I'm going to start letting loose. I'm going to start letting people see what's up and what I've been working on. And it started going really well. Yeah. DC comedy's dope. People don't realize what this scene is.
Actually, by the way, do you not remember? I went to one of your shows.
Which one?
Shout out his little brother Manny who set this whole thing up. Yeah. So Manny invited me to I think it was one in April, like around April. It was one of your one of the shows I think you produced.
Okay.
Right.
Downstairs at that one place. Yeah. Okay. That's
so I went to one of your shows. That was actually I think that was my first time ever going to a comedy show, right?
Word.
Yeah, first time. I'm a big comedy fan. Like I watch on Netflix. I watch like all Dave Chappelle specials, Kevin Hart specials, but I've never been blessed to go to a show. So when I went to yours, I actually kind of felt like, man, I like this. Like I kind of fell in love with the new generation of comedy from them. Because I watched Andrew Schultz, but I was like, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm not relating to his jokes, or his jokes aren't hitting as much. But then I came to see it like live, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually pretty funny. I think the host, and then you had other people, and then you at the end. You guys killed it.
Yeah. How did you like going to a live show versus watching stand up on Netflix? Like, give me your thoughts.
For sure, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was I wasn't scared, but I was very aware. I was very aware that you guys could come and diss me. I think somebody did come diss me, but it was a really bad joke, so I really didn't feel offended.
Yeah.
You better at your job. But no, honestly, I kind of was like, okay, I realized that I could get dissed at any time, so I gotta get ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, you were prepped.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So funny.
But overall, like I actually really liked it. I like how you guys, like have multiple people, and then I like how the crowd work works. I feel like you especially. I think you had a couple jokes. You had a couple. It was one Donald Trump joke that you had.
Oh,
it was that I don't know what it was. I wish I remembered it, but you had this one joke, and I think you were crowd working with somebody for a little bit. That was funny. And then you also also want to mention, you talk a lot about culture.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of your shorts are a lot about, asking people about their culture.
Yeah.
Letting them know, like trying to make jokes on like different people's cultures. You had the hungry short that just came out.
Oh yeah. Shout out to the people from Hungary.
But yeah, honestly, for you specifically, I really like how you guys diversify your type of comedy, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that means a lot. Obviously, you coming from two different cultures. I think that I feel like you're able to reflect who you are through comedy. Wouldn't you say that's?
I think that's exactly it for me. Like I want to be able to speak with my voice, and like my experience.
Right.
And what I found like through it is that like the more I talk about the different cultures, the more I realize how similar they are. There's so many things that we all go through similar that we don't even realize.
That's very true. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like especially when they're during the pandemic. And I was like, you're on social media a lot. Like you realize that everyone's going through the same thing you're going through.
Bro, we're all so similar. Like the one what's the saying I always say? I always say like the thing that's that's similar about every human is that we're all unique, which is ironic because that doesn't really make sense in a sentence, right?
Right.
But because of that, like we have these we think that these experiences that we have are so unique to us, but there's actually hundreds and thousands, maybe even millions of people that are going through the same thing. For example, I just posted a video about my mom, my Ethiopian mom, getting mad at me for coming home late, right? You saw that video, right?
Yeah, I swear to God, it was like word for, like your brother sent it to me, I was like word for word, like literally.
Okay, so that's crazy that that's our experience. Bro, when I tell you how many messages I've gotten from people from other countries talking about, bro, my mom is the exact same. From down to the time, down to the you want to kill me, down to the, you know what I mean? Down to the I'm going to call your dad. All of it is like, they're like, dude, this is my experience. And that blew my mind. Like that just reinforced kind of what I think, like, bro, you could touch so many people with this kind of humor.
100%. And my question for you, so obviously, as you guys probably don't see on the screen, this guy's like 6'4", right?
That's true.
So in my head, I'm like, comedy, yeah, you're great at comedy, but there's no way you were in a hooper.
Yeah. I played ball. I played ball. Yeah. I played for Iona College.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. We did our thing. It was good. It was a good school.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I heard somewhere else that you played in the national March Madness.
I did play March Madness. Yeah,
okay.
I did. We played against Iowa State.
Oh, really? Sweet 16?
No. It was the first round.
Okay,
first round. Round of 64. We were out in the first round. We played Iowa State. We played at the Denver Nuggets Arena in Denver, the Pepsi Center. That was really dope experience. We played against like a few pros. One of the pros, George Niang, I think he plays for...
He's in the league?
Yeah, he's in the league. He plays for Houston, I want to say. He played for Philly for a while. Okay. Yeah, he's a decent role player and stuff. There was another guy that went to the league, played for OKC. I forget his name, but it's different, bro. There's levels, yo.
Now, my thing is like, was that never like a pursuit? Like, were you not trying to go pro or
go to the NBA? Yeah, I was trying to go to the NBA for sure, but I just didn't have the body.
Really?
I'm a thin dude. Yeah, I didn't have the muscle. Like, I had the skill, I feel like, or I could have developed the skill eventually to like be a professional player, maybe not in the NBA, but like overseas at least. But my body I was thin. I could never put on weight.
Oh, really?
I don't know what about my that Ethiopian
metabolism.
Yeah, bro.
You can eat whatever you want. You're
doesn't
still the
matter. It doesn't matter. Which is crazy because my two younger brothers, you've seen Manny.
Yeah, they're decent built. Yeah,
bro. Manny's big. He got a little bit of the Nigerian gene. My other brother Michael's the same way. Like that boy's a
you got 100 Ethiopian. You got 100 Ethiopian.
Bro, I got 100 Ethiopian on the metabolism. They're like, all right, you will be skinny forever. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I guess this
was there mine. Was there a moment where you were like, man, I can't do this? Or was it like just multiple incidents where you're like, okay, this guy's like better than me, but like, I don't even know how to like get an edge over him? Was it just like, you know, after you playing college ball, you're like, man, I feel like a lot of people from what I hear that, you know, after playing intense high school ball and college ball, they lose passion for it.
Yeah.
Was that something for you? Or was
you want to know
like,
what it really was? It actually ties back into the March Madness game.
Okay.
I'll never forget it. We were playing in the March Madness game. All was good. The game ended. We lost.
Okay.
This is a sold-out arena.
Okay.
I don't know how. It's like over 20,000 people.
Yeah, of course. March Madness
like,
game.
It's sold out, bro. And I remember getting there, and I was sitting in the locker room after we lost, and I was like, "Whoa, they sold this place out. Like, I wonder how much money they made off of that."
Right.
You know. And then I was like, "What did I get from this?" And I remember looking down, and I had like a banana, an orange, and Axe body spray. And that was the only thing I left with that whole thing, you know? Like, my name was on a locker and everything, and that was the only thing I left with. And I thought to myself, if I broke my leg in this game,
we would have helped you, honestly.
What would have happened to me? You know what I mean? And then from then on, I was like, oh, okay, I can't use my body to make money, make my millions. I need to use my brain. And so I switched to something and use my brain.
Oh, very nice.
And that's kind of how it went, yeah.
Transition into comedy. Let me ask you, so when it comes to comedy, right, is it like, what's the big picture for you? Are you trying to make like your millions, right? Obviously, we've seen how much money you can make in comedy with, you know, stars like Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, right? Is it like a legacy that you want to build in the comedy space? Like, Benny wants to be a name in the comedy space forever. Like, when God not willing, you know, pass away, that, you know, your name is a legacy in the comedy space forever, or it's like something where you want to, like, you know, help your family out eventually when you make it. Like, what's the motivation? What's the long vision?
Families use motivation for sure. I want to be able to do things for my family that I can't now. But another big motivation for me is to travel the world and get paid to talk shit.
That's it.
That's it. You know what I mean? I think that if I achieve that, I will have won. Like, I will have won this life. You know, I did all right. Yeah, I'm traveling the world seeing, because I really want to travel. I've always wanted to travel. I think that's the currency of the soul. I think that's one of the most important things to do. If I can go to different places and people know who I am, and like I'm entertaining people, we're just like, I can create like a joyous environment in a city I've never been in, and I get paid to do it. That's a W. That's a W in the chat, man.
Very true.
Yeah, and absolutely, bro. Who doesn't want to be? You don't get into things to be second best.
Yeah,
you know, you want to be the best. So it's like, I work so hard every day because I'm like, all right, man. I know that there's something coming, and I just gotta push. The more I push, the crazier it's gonna get, and like,
100%.
Who knows where it could go?
100%. No, absolutely. You know, you've obviously you've done comedy for like 3 years now, or like
longer than that, 6.
6 years, yeah. And you look how you've grown. So honestly, it's like, it should be motivation for anyone else, like trying to do any hustle, you know, any kind of creative work that, you know, it's possible, man. It's possible.
Yes, indeed.
It's possible.
If you Nipsey said this, and I listen to Nipsey a lot.
Oh yeah,
and
he's motivation 101, 100%.
Yeah, and I think that the keys are like, I could tell a lot of people don't listen to Nipsey, and they should more. Right. But he, you know, it's a marathon, right? He said the only distinguishing quality between me and those people that didn't make it is I didn't quit.
That's very true.
That was it.
I think about that with anything, right? Like even at the hardest of points, it's like it's only temporarily, right?
Yeah, man.
If you make it out of this bad situation, you'll make it. You know what I mean? I think if you think like that, you're gonna make it out of your race, regardless of how long it is, right? You know, God tests his toughest soldiers, obviously.
Yeah,
you know,
and also remember that every down has an up, and every up has a down. So if you're doing really, really well, be like, all right, man, something's gonna come and mess us up.
Do you like balance that, like when you're on a high compared to a low?
Yes, yeah. My buddy told me this. Deshaun Much, shout out to Deshaun. He was the first one that introduced me to this quote: "Is don't let the successes get to your head, don't let the failures get to your heart."
Oh, wow.
You keep that in mind, and you remain balanced, and then you're just like, all right, cool. I can handle it. I can handle whatever. 100%. No matter what it is, no matter how big the success, no matter how bad the failure, don't let them touch those two things. And you're good.
100%. What are, you know, obviously in the comedy space, what are some of the, I guess, positives versus negatives that you've had to deal with personally as a comic while, you know, in this journey?
The positives are like, you know, seeing self-development. Like seeing myself turn into what I envisioned, you know, and it's happening slowly but surely. The negative is that it really is the slowest race. It's one thing at a time, and like comedy's interesting in the sense that like there's no school for comedy.
Right.
If you want to be a dancer, you can go to dance class. If you want to be a singer, you can go to singing class. Acting, same thing. But comedy, the only way to get better at comedy is to get on stage, and not only get on stage, but get on stage and fail. Like you have to fail. Like every joke that I've written, that they weren't, most of them, some of them were funny off rip, but a lot of them weren't funny the first time I said it. They might have had some little giggles, and then I take that and I'm like, okay, all right, I could work with this. Then I go back home and I rework the joke, I reframe it. I was like, okay, maybe if I say it this way, but add this word, take out this word, and then it's like a puzzle, it's an equation, and then eventually it gets to the point where people are like, oh, that joke was funny, and it's a grind.
Yeah,
it's a grind, bro.
How long have you been on social media with the comedy thing? Because you said you were doing it in New York for a little bit, and then
I started with the social media stuff during the pandemic.
Okay.
I had a conversation with my brother. I was like, bro, should I just like go all in? They're like, bro, listen, if you want to do it, you got to go all in. And I was like, bet. And that was it. And I started going all in and started creating like little skits, little stuff like that. I didn't post actual stand up for a little minute, but then I started posting stand up clips, started messing around on stage and talking to people, finding clips, finding out how to edit, self-produce everything as well.
Yeah, you talk about that. So you do all your shorts?
Yeah, I do everything. I self-produce everything. Oh, wow. Because I think it's important to be self-sufficient. Okay. I could outsource it. Now I could outsource it, but now I understand exactly what's going on, so I know how to like tell them to do what I want.
I see.
But if you've never done it yourself, you're just handing it over to somebody
who can have absolutely all control of like your work.
Exactly. And then they do it and then they come back, you're like, I don't like this for some reason and I don't know why. And I don't know how to go back and say, so you got to self-produce. You got to learn to self-produce everything first.
Absolutely.
My opinion.
Absolutely. So you have, if you don't mind me asking, so you have your own production company, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Full Circle Production.
Full Circle Production. How many people are on that team?
Just me. Yeah, really? It's an LLC. It's a self-employed company. I have people that I hire essentially when I work on like producing shows and this, that, and the third. But as far as the company itself, it's just me so far.
So you came back to DC. You said around 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago.
After the pandemic,
2 years ago. So when you transitioned to the DC space, how hard was it for you to like, I guess, get people like to know you, able to like connect? Because you were in New York and you went to Florida, so you weren't even in DC for a while, right?
Nah.
You're basically in a new space, basically, right?
I knew absolutely nobody.
How was that? Like, how did you like get in the space? How did you know what was going on? Like, how you were able to get into these?
Honestly, mad difficult. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, it was mad difficult. It was like hard to like get people to convince people that I was like funny because nobody would give me a chance.
Really?
Yeah, nobody would. I didn't come in with a large Instagram presence or videos that they could check out.
No resume.
None of that. I had nothing, you know. So it was like I had to go from like the ground up. I started at like the bottom mics and I just kept killing it every mic, and until people started knowing like who I was. I started recognizing me. I kept showing up, and I'll never forget it. I'm not gonna say his name, but I remember there was this dude I DM'd and I was like, hey, bro, you think I could get on your show?
Right.
And he read my message and didn't even respond.
Damn.
So I'm like, damn, okay,
Motivation.
that sucks, right? It gets better.
Yeah.
So I see him out in person.
Okay.
I'm not the type of person where I'm just like, I'm not like timid.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So I went up to him. I was like, yo, what's up, bro? You saw my message, but you ain't respond. You ain't say nothing. Like, what's good with that? You know? And I pressed him. And I remember he looked at me and he goes, yeah, man, you're just not good enough. Wow. To get on the show.
Wow.
Like if you get a little better, man, like we'll consider you for the show and that, you know? And I remember like hearing that and being like, oh yeah, I'm about to go crazy.
You're about to say.
I'm about to go crazy, bro. Yeah. I honestly in my head I said thank you, sir. You know, like I
That's all I needed
you,
to hear. That's all I needed
bro,
to hear.
I literally I just went dummy from there, bro. I started going ham. I started writing. I started getting on every stage. I started getting on all the big stages in DC. Then I start selling out my own shows, like based off my name, not like a novelty show. Right. I started headlining, and I spoke with this dude afterwards, and I was like, "Yo, you remember you said that to me, bro?" And he apologized. He was like, "Yeah, I was wrong."
At least he was an asshole like that.
Nah, he's a cool dude too. Like he's a funny comic too. You know, I'm not gonna put him on blast or nothing, but I remember that happening, and I was just like, the level of motivation that it gave me when that person said that. Yeah, oh, 100%. Bro, because I'm like a competitive dude. I play ball, you know, like when I play ball, like I turn into a whole different person. Like I'm not this smiley, nice kind of person. When I play ball and I get in that mode, like Kobe's my favorite.
Mama
player.
Mentality, 100%.
Kobe's my guy.
We all know, Kobe, the
Shout out, okay, you got the Kobe, yeah,
100%,
exactly.
100%.
And so like, it was after that it was a wrap. Like that's when I started going nuts.
Crazy.
I also became single. That helped.
Oh, really?
For some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like when I was in a relationship, when I first got to DC, I was in a relationship. And when I was in that relationship, I felt like I wasn't creatively as free as I wanted to be. For some reason, you know, I was afraid of like what this person would think if I said certain thing on stage, and you know what I mean, like there
especially like
that.
disclosing like their relationship, meaning like making jokes about her.
Yeah, all types of stuff like that, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to, to me, like at some point it wasn't worth making the joke and then dealing with it at home, because we lived together too, which was crazy, you know.
Okay. And
so, once that happened, I like went through like a state of like being real sad, of course, because of the breakup or whatnot.
It happens.
And then it just did this all of a sudden, and then like things just started going crazy, and like I just started coming up with stuff, started getting inspiration, and it was just Do
you feel like now, like in the space you're in, I feel like you're growing at a crazy rate. Like, is it like you were talking about the relationship thing? Would you ever get back in a relationship right now, just because of like how fast you're growing?
It's difficult. It's definitely something to think about, but it's difficult. I do want a relationship,
of course,
absolutely, 100%. That's the kind of person I am. Like I'd love to just love on one person and it work out perfectly,
100%.
But this lifestyle is like a hard lifestyle to deal with.
You're doing shows, I'm guessing, every single day. Like I literally see you post every day. You're doing this. You're doing this.
Every night. Like I'm out. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm driving an hour to get to DC from where I live every night, and I'm doing 3-4 shows a night, 2-3-4 shows a night. You know, so it's like it's a difficult thing. Like I'm a man on a mission at this point in my life. You know, and so like if you don't fit within that mission, like if you don't really understand that, like this is. You know, we're gonna have a hard time, and I can't deal with that mental. I have enough to deal with mentally. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way, because it's like I'm trying to do this, and I'm also a college student.
Bro.
I'm also work. Like I do so much stuff. I'm like, bro, like inviting some, like that's crazy. Like
man, it's difficult unless somebody understands. There are women out there that I think can really get it, what it's like to be with a man that has like a mission and a purpose and a drive. I mean, a lot of women say they want that.
Yeah, and then when it actually happens,
understand what it means. You know,
like, not answering the phone calls. No, I can't be there. Yeah.
I'm working, and the messed up part is I got to be out at night.
Oh yeah, that's so like the freest time for people, right?
But it's like I'm sure the person's thinking like, what else are you doing? You know, there's so many people. Girls are coming up to you after the stage, blah 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 blah, all this kind of stuff, and it's like, really, like that's happened to me before. Girls have come up to me before, but like. I always be like, well, thank you so much, you know, to come to a show. And then it's like, I keep it pushing. I'm on to the next show, you know?
100%.
That's not my focus.
100%. How, I guess my question is, how has your like family reacted to this, honestly? You know, you being African, I feel like even for me, like you're doing something out of the norm, right? You're not obviously. You finished college, obviously, as you you finished college, so you did what mom and dad wanted you to do, right?
Yeah, took care
but
of
it's
business,
like, it's like now you're taking the biggest risk, right? You're not only like, it's not like you're starting a business, right? You're a public figure now, right? You're a public figure, and it's like, a lot of things, our parents don't want to be disclosed, or like they just don't want us to have that type of embarrassment, that judgment for like, African families,
Bro, my mom is always don't talk about me. Don't say this, don't say that. Like, mom, you gotta let me. I just be like, yeah, okay, mommy, I got you. But in my head, I'm like, mommy, like,
I'm gonna cook you.
I don't cook my mom, but I like tell the stories that like, you know what I mean? That's it's my reality. But my parents have been actually pretty supportive.
Oh, really? Okay.
To be honest, because of the way I introduced it to them. Right? Like, for example, my dad was the one that I was the most afraid to introduce it to. Because he's the one. Oh, sorry. My dad was the one that I was the most afraid to introduce it to. But the way I introduced it to him was, there's a competition out in Timonium, Maryland, and it's at this comedy club called Nwokeabia's, right? Okay. And it's like 300 people in this competition, 300 audience members and like 12 comedians, and they do their thing. And so I asked my dad one day, he was here visiting, and I was like, Dad, you ever been to a comedy show? He doesn't know I do comedy. He knows nothing. I go, you ever been to a comedy show? He goes, I didn't have to. Of course, I never had time for enjoyment. I was walking. I was trying to make sure you had a good future, And I was like, like, we should go to this comedy show. We should check it out. He's like, all right, he's open to new things. He's getting older. He's never tried things. All right, I'll open to it. So we go. It's me, Aman, and my dad. Right. And we go out there. It's like 2 hours away, and it's this comedy competition. I'm in the competition, but I don't tell nobody nothing.
Wow.
So they seat us. You know what I mean? We're sitting, and I look at my brother. I go, not my brother. Of course, he knows what's up. Yeah. And I go, Dad, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. Right. And he's like, all right. So I leave, and I go straight to the stage, and it's my turn to perform. Yeah. And so I go from my dad thinking I'm in the bathroom to him seeing me on stage in front of 300 people. Exactly. And I gave him a shout out at some point in my set, and he just like stood up, and he was mad hype, and I won.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, and I won on top of that. So I literally won that night. So like I came back to him, and I was like, so I've been doing comedy for a while, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm pretty good at it, and or at least I think I'm good at it. It's subjective, but and he was like, "Wow, okay, so this is what you've been doing. Like, this is interesting." And then I started bringing him to more of my shows, more of my production shows. He starts seeing like what's going on and the work that goes behind it too. That I'm not just going up there just talking and
the behind the scenes.
There's a lot of work that goes behind it, you know. 100%. And he's seeing me edit the videos, he's seeing me do it, and now he's like, "All right, man, like you're starting a business. You're becoming a business. You're putting in work. Like you're doing these things."
It can't be. It's always respect. That's definitely respect.
Yeah, and so like when you frame it like that, and he sees it as I'm just not up there being a jester, he gained some respect for it, and so now he's the most supportive. Yeah, now he's the most supportive ever, man. My mom still is kind of annoyed at me. She's like, "Don't you say too many bad words." Like, mommy, please, just let me rock, you know. Also, my Ethiopian mom accent is terrible. I don't know how. I gotta get better at it, but still. Yeah, so that's how it happened. My parents are supportive.
100%. In the comedy space, obviously, I talked about Andrew Schultz and Dave Chappelle, right? Like, so I feel like now because of social media, there's so many different forms of comedy, right? Yeah. I think you've kind of like got into multiple. Like, you got into like the Drewski form, where it's like you're just doing skits, right? Yeah. Skit form. Also with the Andrew Schultz, talking form, like on stage. Which form do you feel like you want to like keep going with? Like, which one do you feel like you like if you could just do one forever, right? If it could be stand up, straight up.
I'm a stand up for sure. 100%. That's number one for me. I love stand up. I love the art form of stand up. I love everything about it. I love the good parts, the bad parts. I love everything about stand up. The other stuff is fun and cool, but it's also a good way to get more people to pay 100% attention.
Engage. 100%,
yeah, they come to the like those clips go super viral because 100%. They're really easy to relate to and like they're so that's why I like those, and they're good and people like them. People dig them. They enjoy them. 100%. And when they see that, and then they're like, oh, I can come see you live too.
Right.
They come to a show.
Then you become relatable, and then you become a fan.
Now we've connected on a much deeper level.
For one of my final questions, for the interview.
Yeah.
What would it be if it wasn't comedy?
I don't know, man. Because originally it was gonna be sports, and so this is like the second wave already. Right. I have no idea. I didn't have too much direction, bro. Even in school, like I didn't have that much direction. I didn't know, and I stayed in limbo for a while. Limbo is like basically purgatory, like a middle ground where you don't know. You know what I mean? And I stayed there for a while especially when I was in New York, and I was miserable.
Really?
I was miserable, bro. I was making money. I had my own apartment. I had everything. That was all.
I feel like was it like the fact that it was just so comforting, right? You were just like at a comforting stage.
Yeah,
right?
and I just had nothing that I was striving for. I had nothing that I was attacking. And that is a miserable place, in my opinion.
Because you were playing basketball your whole life, so that's like that was your drive, that was your hustle.
That was my identity. Like that was everything. I stayed in bro. I can't tell you how many nights I spent up until like my 20th birthday. I probably spent every birthday from the age of 14 to 20 in the gym.
Damn. Okay, you were really bad. Okay.
Like every birthday, I remember saying to myself, I have to be there on my birthday. I gotta go get shots up. Like, you know what I mean? Waking up in the morning, lifting 100%. Every day, bro. Every day, it was my identity. And then that got taken, and I was like, whoa, what do I do now?
I feel like a lot of people. I wouldn't say I relate, but I know a lot of people that can't relate. You know, after high school, like college, they were so good at basketball, right? And they're just like, that's just kind of like a very.
But it also happens when you're not in sports, right? People finish school, and people think that the university is like a real life. It's not real life. It's a made-up world. It's literally a bubble.
Right.
And then you exit this bubble, and now you have to be a real human. And then you don't know what you like. You don't know what you...
Because you were so fascinated over getting the degree, right? And it's like...
Not even just getting the degree, but you were like with friends all the time, partying, drinking... school was so structured. Everything was just laid out for you.
Right.
And then you get into the real world, and they're like, all right, do this job. And then you realize, oh, wow, like I hate my coworkers. My boss sucks.
And I even hate my job at one.
I hate my job. I got this nice apartment. I never spend any time here. I'm always in the office. Damn. You know what I mean? Like this is a reality for a lot of people.
How old were you when you were like in New York, like in this time of like just limbo of your life?
It was right after college.
Right. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, right after college.
Wow.
And yeah, that was a interesting time. It was miserable.
Really?
It was terribly miserable, dude.
Comedy came at a great time, obviously.
Comedy saved everything, bro. Comedy was just like, you gave me something to strive for. It gave me something to attack, something that I enjoyed, something that was exciting every night. You know what I mean? Like, it's a crazy thing going up. Comedy's a wild. I just use my voice and I talk in front of 100 people.
Yeah. I can make a living off this. That's crazy, right?
That's nuts.
Obviously, our parents wanted us to do well, but it was like we never knew of this when we were younger. You know,
this wasn't an option. We had 4 options: doctor, lawyer, engineer, or failure. That's the only ones you had, bro. That's it, dog. So yeah, it's like there's many ways. The world has changed from when they grew up.
100%.
And we're showing them a little bit more, you know.
100%.
And I think that's important.
100%. Benny, I just want to thank you so much for your time, my guy.
Dog. Thank you, man. 100%, bro.
Great
Appreciate
pod,
you having
guys.
me.
Any last motivational words, for the crowd? Anyone that's, aspiring to do just anything in life, right? It's not only comedy, but maybe have their own podcast, maybe start their own business. What do you tell them? What do you tell them right now?
There's this proverb that I live by. There's one proverb that I live by that I talk about all the time, and I'll talk about forever. And it's an African proverb. And the proverb goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
Right.
I think that's not debatable.
Yeah, for sure.
But the second best time to plant a tree is today.
Right now, guys. Right now.
So if you try to do something, you want to do something, man, just start it. That's the hardest part.
Take that risk on your life, guys.
Seriously.
You only have one.
That's a fact.
Right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the Samson and Dollar Talk Show.
Love.
Like, share, subscribe. We'll have all Benny's content, both his Instagrams, all his live shows. When's your next live show?
The next live show I'm having is New Year's Eve.
I'm going to be in Ethiopia.
Yeah, the next one I have after that is January 11th.
January 11th?
And then, so New Year's Eve is, I guess, for people that are watching, if they want to come. I'm doing a show with Felonious Monk, who's also an Ethiopian comedian, headliner. Been doing his thing for, 20 plus years. He's dope. And my man, Justo. We're going to be at the DC Comedy Loft the 29th, the 30th, and 31st. That's dope. You're going to Ethiopia, though. That's going to be fun.
Oh, really?
Then on January 11th, I'm back at the DC Comedy Loft.
I'm there January 11th.
Yeah, January 11th, back at DC Comedy Loft. Me and my friend Jasmine are doing a show called Young, Black, and Funny.
Love it.
And we're about to have a absolute vibe. That's going to be so fun.
Okay.
But between those times, I'm performing every night. So those are not my shows.
Are you in DC every day, or is it every night in DC?
Every night in DC, yeah.
Is it that same spot, or is it like different places?
No, there's different places in DC. There's so many places in DC that do comedy.
Okay.
But those aren't my shows.
Okay, I see.
These are the shows that I produce. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm performing every night. So if you want to come see me, just go on my Instagram, Real Benny. And if you join my Instagram channel, that's free. I'm always posting the skits, my dates, everything, bro.
Absolutely.
You can always
Thank
see
you
it.
guys so much. We out.
Love.